Hello. Today we're going to have some interview with a former Bernie Sanders supporter after he watched the presidential debate. Okay. So hi.
Hi, nice to see you. Nice to hear from you,
Nice to see you.
as always.
Okay. I'm going to ask a few questions. Okay. So did you watch the presidential debate last time?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I sure did.
So, what is your one word expression after you watched the last presidential debate?
Well, quite frankly, it was a shit show. And here's the thing. Both of those um candidates are really indicative of the problem that is um permeating. So they are very, very much. So we have two candidates, both of which who are captured by corporate interests and are running with the agenda of those with money and power,
Mm,
who write and they write the rules. The people with money and power write the rules.
mm,
So therefore, it's paid for. So,
okay.
yeah.
So, who do you support between Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
Um, I'm not going for either of those candidates. I'm going for. Well, I mean, there are two third-party candidates who are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Howie Hawkins of the Green Party
Mm,
and Gloria LaRiva of the Socialism and Freedom Party in out on the West Coast. So
mm,
I voted for Howie Hawkins. I did it partly because I know him personally, um, but he has the most comprehensive Green New Deal. He was the original Green New Dealer, the one who created it and ran it in 2010 when he ran for governor of New York State. So,
mm,
of course, I don't necessarily think there's hope for either of those candidates. Unfortunately, the Green Party and all of the third parties don't have any money or any power. So they really need to build the party from the ground up.
mm,
And yeah, I mean, the exciting thing about Bernie Sanders is he actually, as a progressive candidate, he actually had a chance to win. And he actually knew how to run a competitive campaign. There's
mm,
very few people on a third party level who run a campaign. Who really know how to run a campaign, a competitive campaign. Tim Canova is one of them, who you know,
mm-hmm.
and Pramila Malik is the other one who I know of, and they're the only third party candidates that I know of who have really run third party campaigns successfully. And don't get me wrong, there's several others. I mean, there are independent candidates and Green Party candidates elected at local levels in the United States.
Mm,
Um, so there is some third party action, but it's not near where it needs to be.
I see. Okay. So, what do you think? What do you think? Who will win this upcoming election? Like realistically?
It's a toss up. It's going to be either Biden or Trump.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's. I mean, I think Bernie would have won again. I mean, there was
Of
enthusiasm for
course.
him.
Right. I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was enthusiasm for him. There's no enthusiasm really for Biden. There's a little bit more enthusiasm for Trump, but I mean, some people are going to vote for Biden just because they don't want Trump. Um, but I don't think enough people. A winning platform is not. I'm not Donald Trump. A
Mhm.
winning platform actually stands for something. That's
Mhm.
basically all Joe Biden has going for him is his claims that he's a decent guy and he's not Donald Trump.
Right.
And in reality, he's not really a decent guy. And he he wasn't even the safest bet to beat Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie Sanders was.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you kick 5.1 million people out of their houses, when you drone bomb 7 nations, when you sign on to the 1994 crime bill, help write the 1994 crime bill, when you deregulate Wall Street, and which leads to the collapse of our economy, you're going to get an even worse Donald Trump. I mean, and we've seen that with every presidential election, how we just keep moving farther right, and we have Donald Trump, and now we have Donald Trump, and we could get somebody who's even worse than Donald Trump if the Democrats don't offer a real alternative. So.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what do you think is the biggest problem in American politics? I mean, there are a lot of problems, but what is the biggest problem? Yeah.
Sure. Well, it all starts with money in politics. And that's really the big thing. The reason we don't have a national healthcare system like they have in Europe, where I have cousins in Italy and in Sweden, is because the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance companies give a lot of money to the politicians to and the media to not have a national healthcare system.
By the way, South Korea also has national healthcare system for a long time.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, South Korea is ahead of the United States in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's really crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Really crazy.
So, do you think having only 2 dominating parties, like a duopoly, right? Political duopoly in American politics, is a good thing? What do you think?
No. No. It's a very bad thing. Like I was saying with the money in politics. Well, the big thing is there is no opposing party. If you want to vote against fracking, there's no way to do it. If you want to vote against war, there's no way to do it. If you want to vote for a national health care service, there's no way to do it. If you want to vote for tuition-free college education, there's no way to do it.
Right.
Because both parties have a stranglehold on the government, because it's not just the healthcare industry; it's it's the predatory student loan companies that have bought the media in Congress. It is the housing banks, the banks that have bought Congress, and so that's really the problem. Is that all these special interests and all the money is within the 2 big parties, and they're kind of bribed to go against the will of the people. Because overwhelmingly, poll after poll shows that Bernie's position and having a national health care system, having tuition-free college education, expanding Social Security, as those are winning ideas. And those are the ones that the Democrats need to run on. And I think we need somebody who's competitive like Bernie or Tim Canova to start a third party. Now, I mean, we do have the People's Party now as well, with Nick Brana. And I encourage everybody to check that out, because that could be a way to get around the duopoly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just talked to Nick Brana a few days ago. He was very, very passionate about what he did. So maybe, and he already got more than 100,000 members. Do you know? In a short period, in a short period of time after his digital convention this time, they got more than 100,000 members now.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's definitely an idea that people are on board with, yeah, I mean, I think there's immense dissatisfaction with the politicians now. That's part of the reason that Trump became a very big figure. Trump is not the problem. Trump is a symptom of the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a result of 40 years of people turning their backs
Right.
on workers.
Yeah, I agree.
Both parties.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, if you can say one sentence about like America's current healthcare system, what is it?
If I could say a sentence about it.
Yeah, just like one word. Healthcare system.
Yeah.
Mm.
One word, one sentence. What do you call it? Failing. It's basically a failed state. I mean, so many people go broke on healthcare systems. It's bad enough that we have a lot of very wealthy people, and most people are struggling to get by.
Mm.
Now we also have a situation where most people, half of this country can't afford $1,000 emergency.
Mm.
So we have a situation where if people are in a situation where they need to pay healthcare bills because their insurance company denies them, or they didn't get it pre-approved, or something like that, they're looking at tens of thousands of dollars
Right.
sometimes, and often have to go bankrupt and
Right.
totally get become ruined.
Yeah.
For what? Over healthcare. It's ridiculous. I mean, in the richest country in the history of the world, healthcare needs to be guaranteed as a right for all people, and it
Right.
really needs to be in the Constitution.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, a lot of people think it already is in the Constitution because it's just such a basic necessity that everybody needs.
Right, that's true. What about the like 70,000 yearly cost for American college? Like, do you think that's like reasonable?
No, it's ridiculous. College, the cost of college. Now, college in this country used to be tuition free. And then, of course, they didn't really like the fact that people on college campuses didn't have to work, and they could protest, say, the Vietnam War, which became a hotbed for activism back in the 60s, in the 1960s in this country, when Vietnam was very big in, when the Vietnam War was the big issue of the day.
Yeah, I heard that about that. Like, yeah, I really heard the protests started from the Vietnam's war injustice, right? All over the world.
Yes. Yes, and that's a big part of the reason I believe why, they make it so much harder to have access to tuition-free college education. And, it used to be, even at the best private colleges and universities, it used to be virtually tuition-free. There was also a time right in this country where one income, where women stayed at home because one income could support a household. Now it's not even close.
Right.
The prices, the wages have stagnated, and the prices of everything else have gone up.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah. So, okay, what is the biggest problem you want the next president to fix?
Well, you got to get the money out of politics, and that comes to campaign finance reform.
Right.
When somebody runs for office, and my friend Michael Sussman is a Harvard lawyer who helped draft a bill that we tried to propose to the New York State Senate and Assembly, but it basically corporations who you're trying to regulate. That's a conflict of interest. What you need to do is you're running for this position. Every candidate gets a set number of dollars, and that's it. That's all they can spend on advertising, and it's just a contest of ideas.
Right.
So,
Yeah, when I talked to Mr. Michael Sussman last time, he said local level somehow, he succeeded, but we need a national level of movement. So I'm thinking like maybe we should ask Nick Brana to talk to Mr. Michael Sussman about it, and then maybe because they're busy protesting here and there as well. So maybe they should include like campaign finance reform, right, in the future. What do you think?
no question. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the heart of the issue.
Mm.
That really is. Yeah, that really is the heart of the issue. Because I mean, even a third party can theoretically become corrupted. But I mean, if we have campaign finance reform, we might even be able to get decent Democrats who are true to what they say, because and don't have money behind them, secret and dark money behind them.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that would be a good idea. Yeah, getting those two together.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's the biggest enemy against the American public, you think, in America?
The biggest enemy. I mean, really, a lot of people would say Donald Trump.
No,
but
I don't think so. That's not the biggest.
Donald Trump is not uniquely different than anybody else.
Right.
I mean, like I said, the problem is Donald Trump is, in some ways, Donald Trump is more honest about it. He puts an ugly face on the Republican Party. So it's actually, I would say, both politicians, and of course, I mean, even on a local level, like with Michael Sussman, like we weren't even really successful at getting money out of politics on a state or local level. This is a problem that is, not only is it on the national level, as anybody can see with the current national politicians, but it's also a problem in every place in this country, virtually every place in this country. There's probably few, if any, exceptions. But money in politics is the big problem, and the remnants of it can be felt everywhere. In fact, in New York State, on a very local level, there's a power plant that's kind of how I know Pramila Malik, because she's been leading the protest against a frack gas power plant, which is there because politicians took bribes from the fossil fuel industry, and they built the big frack gas power plant. So now we have to get rid of it. So money in politics has happened on every level.
Yeah, that's true. So you probably think super PAC is not reasonable, right? And money influence in American politics overall.
Yeah, no, I mean, Citizens United is the worst decision that has ever happened. I mean, that basically set the whole money in politics on fire, because now corporations are seen as people, and they could donate unlimited sums of money to whatever candidate that they want, and sometimes it's not even accounted for. So
yeah, I was
this
very
really starts the
surprised.
issue.
Right, like in Korea, at least like legally, that's considered as a bribe. So we're strictly, try to prevent it. So when I realized like that unlimited donation is legal in America, I was like really shocked. And so I asked a Sweden politics professor about how Sweden limit the donation from corporations to politics. He said up to $10,000. That's the limit, and they have to be public. Yeah, the money source has to be public.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so who is the biggest enemy? No, okay, so we already did that. why do you think the voting rate is so low in America? And do you think if there is a way to fix it? Voting
Yeah,
rate was
well, I
average
mean,
was like 40 something percent before. Yeah.
I know, and actually, this is why I think people know that there's major problems in the American voting system and the political system, and they feel like both parties don't represent them. Um, Both parties represent the wealthy and the powerful, because that's who their buddies are. That's who donate to their campaigns, the wealthy and the powerful. So, like George Carlin said, it's a big club and we're not in it. So,
Yeah.
and that's basically true.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if you know any other country's politics, but what country's politics do you think we can learn from, to improve American politics? Like, do you have any other types of politics or country's politics in mind?
Absolutely. I mean, Canada, just to our north, has a national healthcare system. But I mean, also Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Scandinavia, they're the countries that really take care of their people. And if we had, say, we, and of course, even South Korea, because I mean, like you said, you've had a national healthcare system for years.
Yeah, only thing, yeah, better than America, but all other things are very similar to America. Yeah, so we need a lot to fix it.
No, indeed. I mean, but like, I mean, there are things, and I mean, everybody says America's the greatest country, and there's a certain nationalism that keeps this country from looking at all of the other countries and seeing how we can do better. It is a great country in some ways, but there's a lot of ways in which we could look at other countries and do better. And I mean, definitely some of the examples I've had, like we have gone through a ridiculous situation where the government forced everybody to close down their businesses. So many people lost their jobs, and then along with that, they also lost their health insurance. Other countries gave, like Denmark, I believe, gave people 80% of their income through the duration of the pandemic, and of course, they have they have a national health care system.
Right.
And that's what we need. I mean, only in this country, I mean, it's the only industrialized nation where not everybody can get health care, even in the middle of a freaking pandemic.
That's true. That's
it's
pretty
just sad.
sad. Right, very sad. So you probably know about social democracy in Northern European countries, right? So you think that's
Right,
a
yeah.
very reasonable system?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And that's what I was just talking about. Norway,
Right,
Denmark,
Norway,
Sweden,
Denmark, yeah,
Scandinavia.
Sweden, all they're like social democracy. Yeah. Okay, so what three things would you do if you're the president?
Well, first of all, I'd give everybody a UBI and Medicare for all, like a national health care system.
And free.
Tuition-free college
Right.
education.
Wow, okay. That's cool.
I would expand Social Security. I would solidify a woman's right to choose, so that way, we can actually, stop having that debate.
Right.
Let's see. I mean, I would make sure that, I would make sure that same-sex couples had all the rights that heterosexual couples had. Let's see. I would make sure that I would have a federal jobs guarantee that and a Green New Deal the same way the Green the Green people are proposing, the Green Party is proposing.
Right.
So
Yeah,
like that would be my plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your advice for South Korean people to learn from American politics?
Ha, good question. Um, good question. What would South Korean people to learn from American politics?
I just had an
Well,
interview with a college
well,
student the other day. He said, just do the opposite of America and you'll be successful.
exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good example of what not to do. I mean, really, it's really, in some ways, like, yeah, it's really very dysfunctional. It really is.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're lucky in some ways to have a constitution, whatever hasn't been eroded of it. But I mean, these people in the Republican and the Democratic Party, they're clearly clowns, and none of them are really doing much to help, the American people.
Right.
They're really not.
Right.
Yeah, they're really they're representing the wealthy and the powerful because most of them are wealthy and the powerful. And that's who their friends are. That's who their friends are in the media. That's who their friends are. The media, the Wall Street people, the politicians, they all hang out together. They go to clubs. They go to, the same social events. They all hang out at the same country clubs. And so they live in a world that's different than the actual average people. And so that's why they don't represent. That's why the politicians don't represent the average people.
Yeah.
They represent the wealthy and the powerful.
Right. Yeah. So I hope more average people go for become politicians and more people should be engaged in politics. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that would be good. And the problem with that is that it does take money.
Right, right. Yeah,
and
so
that's
we
why
need
we're
to
gonna get
fix
money
the
out of
system.
politics.
Right. We need to
So-
fix the whole system, I think. Yeah. And
Right,
I think,
exactly.
I believe like changing electoral system to proportional representation system would be a good start and campaign
Sure.
finance reform as well. So if we can do that, and I think, we can change a lot, so we have to do many things. Okay, so finally, do you have any last word before we finish this interview?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would love to know more about you all and what you're interested in and what you would like to learn and
Right.
talk about as well.
Yeah. So maybe
sure.
we're gonna have another interview sooner or later next time.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you for the
Thank you so
interview.
much.
Yeah. Bye bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye. Now, yeah.